And welcome to another exciting episode of the KLIQ Nation's Comic Book Chronicles. I am your host, Tim D-O-double-G.
Yay! He's back.
I'm back, people. And tonight I'm joined by at agent_70 on Twitter.
What's up, everybody?
So I missed last week to attend my alma mater's homecoming. So this week, Dirt decided to be payback time. So he's spending time with his family preparing for Halloween, which is plus his boss being out of town and having to pick up the slack.
Got to make that money.
So hopefully he will be back with us next week. And Roddy Cat hopes to be back next week as well. He is also working. But we'll hold down the fort for both of them.
That's right.
So make sure to go to thekliqnation.com where you can find previous episodes of the Comic Book Chronicles, comic book reviews when I get back to doing those again.
and an article finally for me on New York Comic Con. Tim D-O-double-G can vouch for me. There is a draft sitting in the queue waiting to be published.
Yeah, I saw it sitting there yesterday when I added the episode from last week to the website. So
it's there. It's got to be finished. I got to edit. I got to upload pictures, all the pictures.
Be sure to follow the Twitter account at TheKliqNation. Like the Facebook fan page, facebook.com/TheKliqNation. Add us to your circles on Google+. Just search for The KLIQ Nation and follow the community. Subscribe on iTunes and Stitcher Radio. Search for The KLIQ Nation. Also subscribe on youtube.com/TheKliqNation. Use the hashtag Comic Book Chronicles on your favorite social media websites. We record live every Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you're at home and you're in the mood to have us on in the background as you're watching Thursday night football or NBA basketball, which started back this week, or Scandal or any of the other shows that come on, go ahead and just throw us on in the background. You don't have to pay attention to us. Just help us get our viewership up. And speaking of viewers, make sure to give us 5-star reviews on Stitcher and iTunes. Help us move up those rankings. And we are a member of the Cold Slither Podcast Network. A very strong network it is, with other shows such as Classic Team Up, the WrestleCast, the Good and Terrible Show, and
the Bad Advice Show.
Yes, that was one I couldn't remember.
That's the one that sticks out because it's got such a great title.
So make sure to go to the website coldslitherpodcast.com. I believe that's it for the plugs.
Yay! Alrighty.
So the nice news spreadsheet, which has been filled up by Roddy Cat. Many thanks to him.
Shout out to Roddy Cat.
First off with some cinematic news. So according to spinoff.com, which is a part of the Comic Book Resources website, Quicksilver is racing into X-Men Apocalypse and possibly even a solo film.
Wow, a solo film for that Quicksilver character? I know that he's, the Quicksilver character, the version that's in Days of Future Past, got some pretty good reviews from movies, so I can't really speak on it. But I'm glad to see that some form of Quicksilver is doing well, even if it is Fox.
Yes, you can expect to see his profile increase considerably.
Alrighty.
We also have Top Cow's Family Affair gets a script commitment.
Cool. Good for them.
Lindsay Fonseca joins Marvel's Agent Carter cast.
Yes, and Agent Carter. There was I guess, a short teaser trailer for Agent Carter because it's going to be taking Marvel's Agents of Shield spot during the winter during the hiatus. So I don't know if you saw it.
I saw the spot for it.
What do you think?
It's fine. Kind of quick.
Yeah, it's only what, like it's less than 10 seconds, but it's still, it's still cool, and I'm happy to see Haley Atwell getting an opportunity to bring this character to any screen. And what's funny is that it's kind of a coincidence that this week, I'm kind of crossing the news lines. I don't know if this was in the news section for comics, but do you remember the Hickman Shield miniseries
Yes.
that was never finished because they just got bogged down and then they moved on to other projects to kind of get the bills paid? So apparently Dustin Weaver has finished the pages for that Shield miniseries, which sort of bridges the gap and establish Shield as like this millennia-old organization. And what's cool about this, in the Marvel cinematic universe, is that it's filling in some of the gaps and shown in the early 8 days of the what is it, the SSR,
Mm.
and Shield's predecessors. So I'm kind of happy to see that. I like to see these gaps filled in. It's pretty cool. It's ripe for storytelling.
And there was some preview pages on Bleeding Cool that they had from Dustin Weaver. Art looked great, of course. So
Of course.
looking forward to that. That's one of the series I need to go back and at least read the first couple of issues that are on Marvel Unlimited.
Definitely. Alrighty. Something you'll love. What is this? Young Justice Invasion Blu-ray pre-orders now available.
Yes.
You must be happy about that.
Well, I mean, I'll just wait for the second season to make it to Netflix.
Hmm.
But yes, I'm glad it's on, at least available for people to order online or
Alrighty.
go to the store and get it. What else we have some news? Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor may join Suicide Squad movie.
Some kind of crossover, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be maybe it'll be like a cameo appearance just to tie in the movies, make sure that people realize that they're tied in.
We'll have to wait and see what comes of that. And of course, there's other big movie news that I'm assuming will be on the spreadsheet here.
Mm-hmm. We're getting there.
Krypton TV show reportedly in the works with David Goyer attached.
Okay.
That I don't see happening, but hey, everything else is getting a show.
They got to fill in the time slot somehow.
The Flash cast Melise Zhao as Linda Park.
Okay.
Is Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. about to drop a Terrigen bomb? So, of course, the speculation is that Skye is an Inhuman, that the blue person we saw in season 1 was a Kree, and possibly even the opening scene in episode 1 from season 2 that was the Agent Carter flashback involved a blue person in one of those containers. I believe I read that somewhere.
Right.
And of course, the weird markings that Coulson is drawing on walls could be, again, related to Kree or Inhuman type, I guess, heritage.
Right. I would not be surprised at this point, given the push that Inhumans have gotten, and the obvious push away from mutants in the Marvel universe. So this would not be a surprise, and I like how they're laying the groundwork for it. It's slow, but it's informed, and it's meant to inform the casual fan. Oh, this is where this Inhuman stuff is coming from, and when it's literally dropped as a bomb, or some, or figuratively speaking, dropped as a Terrigen bomb, we will, it'll make more sense.
Yeah. Thor 3 likely won't be released until. Oh, I got it.
Well, I was about to say you can kind of table that one because
Yeah.
there's a
Agent Carter full synopsis and cast list revealed. Uh, it's rumored that the Avengers roster will be altered by the end of Age of Ultron.
Well, I think it's been confirmed, and we'll get to that particular announcement.
Not really.
Well, I
Not by,
think.
not by Age of Ultron.
Oh, at the end of it.
Yeah.
At the end of the movie, the roster is going to be different. I think, and like I said, we'll get to this announcement when we discuss this one last
It'll be different
announcement.
just because they'll have Division and Scarlet Witch and
Possibly.
Quicksilver. Marvel Studios announces full Phase 3 slate at a special event.
They basically took over social media that entire afternoon, right?
Yeah, it was fun.
Like, talk about being distracted at your desk. If I coming off your lunch break, and it's like, wait a second, this event is starting at 2 p.m. Eastern, and I just remember keeping my Twitter feed open on my tablet in front of me and just watching it blow up, and it was pretty impressive.
It's funny because I had to run home during right at 2 when it happened. I was like, I'll check out my phone, see what the big news was. So I checked and saw that. First, I saw that Captain America 3 was going to be called the Serpent
Society.
I was like, oh, okay, cool. Then I got back to work and then I checked my phone again and saw stuff about Inhumans and Black Panther and Captain Marvel. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, they're announcing everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw where the real name for Cap 3 was switched to Civil War.
Right. And they also announced, here we go. They announced the Doctor Strange movie in November 2016. The Guardians of the Galaxy sequel is coming sooner than we expect in 2016, I believe. Thor is bringing Ragnarok to the Marvel Cinematic Universe in 2017. Chadwick Boseman is going to star in Marvel's Black Panther. That's pretty cool. Yep. And to follow up on that, Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, is going to be coming into the Marvel Cinematic Universe right after. So there's some big announcements, and I know I like to quote Kisada's old joke about breaking the internet in half. I thought the cinematic announcements had broken the internet in half that day. It was pretty cool. It was great to see all basically my Twitter feed just blowing up over it. It was very cool.
And we also have Inhumans, November 2018, Avengers, Infinity War Part
1 and 2.
May 2018 and May 2019. And Captain America Civil War, May 6, 2016.
There you go.
Awesomeness.
Yes. Talk about, I read it in a couple places. Talk about Kevin Feige coming out and basically, looking at DC's announcements and dropping the mic. After these announcements, he's like, all right.
Yeah. So Ant-Man will be the end of Phase 2.
Oh, we totally glossed over Ant-Man because we're just like, yeah, Ant-Man's coming out, we know.
Well, that had already been announced, so
right.
So Phase 3, I think, will have 9 or 10 movies total in it.
Right. I think it's 10 because you count the Infinity War as 2.
Yeah. Runaways may see life on television.
Cool.
And a Richie Rich comedy series picked up by Netflix for 2015.
See, that's interesting. I'm not a Netflix subscriber, and I'm probably going to become one to watch these the street level characters that Marvel's going to be putting out, and the Defenders. But it's interesting that Netflix is going to become a real player in programming now. And picking up, it's just another avenue for people to get a show on about, what's kind of becoming less of a genre and more mainstream.
But they also got um, they have Adam Sandler movies going straight to
Right.
Netflix, and was it Chelsea Handler's got some comedy special thing going with them.
All right. Well, they're definitely raising their profile for original programming.
Yeah. So in comic news now,
God, we're like San Diego Comic Con now. We start with the movie and the TV stuff.
yeah,
I love it.
some of this will be skipped. Marvel has more teaser events for 2015. Uh,
Oh, they pulled out a bunch of them.
yeah,
Um,
that's. I mean, you can go to your website of choice to see all those.
right. I was gonna mention that the one that dropped just recently is one that's near and dear to my heart. They're, I guess, going to explore an alternate reality where, um, you know, talking about about Maydays, or at least Spider-Man and Peter Parker and Mary Jane's child that was basically erased in one more day. And the relationship and the marriage being erased in one more day, and they're going to kind of revisit that in a storyline called "Renew Your Vows." So that was that was teased today or yesterday, I think.
Yeah.
So what else do we got here?
Oh. Uh,
Yeah, we're skipping over all the different Marvel teasers because there's a bunch of them and they keep coming out.
there's really no other comic news that needs to be brought up. It's all the movie news.
Yep, yep. Alrighty.
Okay, so books to review this week. What's a good one to start with?
Well, let's do the stuff that we definitely both read. It's kind of a light week in terms of reading this week.
Let's start with Guardians of the Galaxy number 20.
Alrighty.
So this is the end of its crossover into Original Sin, which ended like a month ago. And I made sure to make a note of how they love to they love to have Guardians of the Galaxy tie into these big Marvel events, and then have their final parts of the tie-ins come out like a month after the event's over. Like I remember the Infinity tie-in, I think came out like, of course, after Infinity was over with, and
Right.
it was over with by like a good couple weeks.
Right.
And Original Sin ended like a month ago, and they're just finally wrapping up their Original Sin of what how did Thanos, Drax, and Star Lord survived the
Hmm.
Cancerverse, and Nova didn't. So we
So
get some confirmation on that.
right.
We had art by Ed McGuinness and Valerio Schiti,
Skitty. Right.
who will be drawing the Planet of Symbiotes art coming up next. So his art looked great. Happy to see him come aboard.
Cool.
And there's not really much else to talk about that would not contain spoilers.
Right. I'm not happy with this.
It's
As a
about what I left
fan.
it. But I thought they turn him. My original guess was they would turn him into some type of villain. So kind of glad that didn't happen.
Right. 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 I mean, as a fan of the Richard Rider character, I just ended up not being happy with this. And yeah, it's not conclusive. Definitely not conclusive. Definitely leaves some doors open, some possibilities to entertain. But but I'm not happy that the character Richard Rider, who had been developed so well by Abnett and Lanning, and during the whole Annihilation, all those big mega space crossovers, they developed Rider so well that they just had to throw him away and create the Sam Alexander character. Which I'm not against the Sam Alexander character. I think the new Nova series is okay.
Hmm.
I think that they do need to have a cachet of younger heroes to develop, but at the same time, it felt like there were more stories to tell with the Richard Rider character developing as like an adult, hero who was um, fully in his like adult hero mode, kind of having gained the respect of like his fellow heroes. He wasn't a new warrior any longer.
Yeah. But I mean, even the ending kind of there's ways to bring them back
Oh
if
yeah.
someone chooses to.
Spoiler alert. Those three dots mean something on the last page.
Oh, let me look at that. I didn't notice that. Bring it up here. While we're doing that,
That's funny. That's funny.
how
Did
was Batman Eternal 30?
It was all right. You know what's funny? Batman Eternal 30? I'll talk about that, but we just got a tweet, and it just reminded me to add something to my sheet of things that I read. Oh no, it's there. It's there. I apologize. Batman Eternal 30 is the next issue in the continuing saga of Batman Eternal, but it does finally show what causes Arkham Manor to start. It finally shows that. It's kind of weird that Arkham Manor came out before this. I guess it had been already revealed in previews that Arkham Asylum, spoiler alert, dum, 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 Arkham Asylum was going to be destroyed, and they would have to find a new place to house the criminally insane in Gotham, and they would end up using Wayne Manor. But this issue shows how that occurs. There's a lot of supernatural mumbo jumbo in this issue, with Deacon Blackfire, who, if anyone read the Cult graphic novel, Batman graphic novel back in the day, that's pretty much the only experience I've ever had reading anything with the Deacon Blackfire character in it. So it was kind of weird to see him play a big role in Batman Eternal. But I guess there's so many villains in the Batman. There's so many villains in the Rogues Gallery that you know they have to give equal play, or at least kind of dig up some of these older characters that maybe haven't had a lot of play recently. And I think Deacon Blackfire is probably one of them. So again, if you haven't been keeping up with Batman Eternal by now, this is probably a very hard issue to pick up. But at the same time, if you want to know what's going on and see things actually, kind of progress and cause ramifications in other books, maybe this is a book to pick up because there is some drama involved. So, like I said, I think the biggest development is the destruction of Arkham Asylum, and while that's cool to see, like I said, this issue kind of gets the ball rolling for what's to come, especially in Batman Eternal and in Arkham Manor.
Nice.
Yeah, like it's a tough. Like I said, having read enough of this, it's familiar, but at the same time, it's just not. It's so hard to keep up on a weekly basis. It just is.
Okay. See something else we both read. I enjoyed Inhuman #7.
Yes, yes, yes. This series has gotten it's gotten to be pretty interesting.
So it has artist Pepe Larraz
Hmm.
taking
The
over for
cover
Ryan
is great.
Stegman.
The
Yep,
cover is great.
Stegman still did the cover,
Yeah, the
and
cover is great.
Pepe will be
Um,
doing issues 7 and 8, and then Stegman's back. And as Dirt told us earlier, let me find, he sent us a message, even though he couldn't be on the show. Make sure to go to his website. He said, uh, in the Marvel newsletter for retailers, free Inhuman #8 copies. So retailers who order Inhuman #8 will receive 100% more copies of their invoice quantities for free.
Basically, buy one get one.
Yes. And they said they usually it's done when they anticipate high demand for a low ordered book. So that's for number 8, which is next one out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So does something big happen there?
Uh, sure, they're leading up to something because this issue dealt with the search. Well, Black Bolt is on the cover. That it's kind of hard to talk about that being a spoiler. But Medusa's looking for Black Bolt and sends out some interesting characters to look for him. And the two characters that he sends out to look for them are pretty interesting in their own right. And the other half of the story deals with Maximus, the Mad, Black Bolt's brother, who is basically controlling Black Bolt at this point. So I guess what they're leading to in the next issue is the reunion of Black Bolt and Medusa. I'm guessing maybe that's what they're teasing.
Perhaps.
Something big is going to happen next issue if they're going. If they're trying to get people to get more copies.
So it's gonna, with the movie way down the line, it'll be probably a good idea to start paying attention to what happens in this Inhuman book.
Right.
Uh,
Definitely, definitely. I do like those these two investigator cop type characters.
yeah.
I like them. They
Yeah,
were well done.
especially because there's two characters I've never heard of before. I'm assuming they're both new.
They're both. I think they're both new. I think the cop, the turned human, or the
Hmm.
turned inhuman, the new human, is definitely new. I'm not sure about the other one, but they were very. This I give Soul a lot of credit. This issue was very well done. Front to back.
Speaking of which, I read Miss Marvel, whatever, from last week. I guess it was last week. Was it? Did it come out last week or 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago, maybe.
Hold on, let me. Yeah, we're reading a combination of old and new stuff this week,
Right.
and I do have that last page of Guardians up, and I see the little 3 dots now.
Hmm.
How did I not see that before? I always miss stuff. Miss Marvel number 9.
Right.
That might be from 2 weeks ago.
I think it's 2 weeks ago.
But so the doctor that's healing uh Miss Marvel, didn't he die in like Inhuman 6?
He did.
Okay,
He
just want to make
did.
sure my mind wasn't going crazy. Okay, that's all I needed.
He did. He did. He was the one that was he was killed during the takeover by the Unspoken, was it?
Yes.
There you go. So
All right. So we had a request from Dork Geekus. Did either of us read Deathlot number 1?
and I did, and I was pleasantly surprised by how much I enjoyed this book.
It's on my iPad, but I just didn't get to it.
I was pleasantly surprised by how much I enjoyed this book. I love how they give Nathan Edmondson, who I was a fan of when he was doing the activity, they give him all the gun-toting people's books. Black Widow, Punisher. Now they give him Deathlock, and you know why? Because he's good at it. He's good. He's good at writing these books with gun-toting characters. It was just a real steady read. The action sequences were very well done. Like I said, I just found myself enjoying it a lot more than I thought I would. Coming off of the Deathlock overload that we got in All New Invaders,
Hmm.
it's kind of hard to figure out where this particular version of Deathlock fits in, but I think we're also going to get that in the next issue because they tease that in the next issue. They're going to kind of explore how this particular version of Deathlock is related to maybe the ones that came before. So they do a very good job of establishing this character or this version of Deathlock as, and sets the stage to kind of integrate him into the Marvel U because there is some Shield uh, uh, there's some Shield investigations into the background of this Deathlock character, and that's basically what's going to tie him into older Marvel continuity. And just as a spoiler note, I was kind of surprised to see a minor character who had some play in Daredevil some years back make an appearance in this. He's probably going to be in the next issue. He basically takes a bullet to the temple, but it was a surprising addition to this book. The character is the Black Tarantula, and we haven't seen him in a few years, and it's kind of surprising to see him make an appearance in this book. But it'll provide a, I guess a slightly superpowered adversary for this version of Deathlock in the next issue or two. But like I said, just to wrap it up, I was pleasantly surprised by how much I enjoyed this book. I would recommend it to someone who's looking to pick up something new and maybe something that's not so super heroic. If you're looking for some, a mix of espionage and high tech stuff and kind of super soldiery stuff, this is a good book for you.
That's a good review there. All right, let's see. What else did I read? All new X-Men number 33.
All right.
The original X-Men and X-23 are still in the Ultimate Universe.
That they are, and they're running into more and more characters from the Ultimate Universe.
And that's about all that we find out here.
Pretty much. There's a great scene with Gonke and Miles with original Jean Grey. That was kind of cool. But other than that, there's not much that actually happens in this issue. There's just lots of, oh, wait, we're interacting with people from the Ultimate Universe, and that's that.
Yeah, so X-23 catches up with Warren, and they try to go back to the Xavier school, which of course doesn't go well.
Right, it doesn't go exactly as planned.
And let's see, Bobby Iceman gets away from the Mole Man.
Mm-hmm. Hank Pym, not Hank Pym. Henry McCoy. Hank McCoy is basically a captive of what is this fool's name? What is this guy? Victor Van Dam. God, that can't even be Von Doom. It's Van Dam. He's a kickboxing fool.
No idea that's what his name was.
So yeah, it's Victor Van Dam in the Ultimate Universe. Gotta love it.
And I think that was everyone, right?
Yeah.
And we're teased, at least in interviews from Bendis, that maybe not everyone makes it back home to our universe. Dun dun dun.
Right. I was about to say, I'm like,
I wonder if he's trying to set up something with Jean Grey and Miles.
You think?
Like, could they be a couple?
You know what? That's if you got to give Spidey a redhead, right?
Yeah. Plus, there's rumors, at least from Bleeding Cool, they keep saying that there's a Jean Grey solo book coming.
No kidding. I haven't read that, so that's kind of surprising to me. But I guess they want to really diversify the line. They're going to get as many female books out there as they can.
I saw it pop up early, sometime during this week again. I saw it a while ago, and I guess they're sticking to their guns because it was that and another book they were saying. I can't even remember now.
Wow.
Anyway.
All right.
Nova 22 was a lot better than it had any right to be.
Really?
Just because it was kind of a fill-in issue, had two artists on it, even though I couldn't tell the difference between them. And they actually were good.
I skimmed this. I wasn't a fan of the premise. So
yeah, the premise was dumb. Nova spent Halloween with the Jean Grey school students, and he's not expelled anymore.
Right.
Away very quickly.
Right.
And how did the issue end?
Well,
yeah, he got called from the Avengers, which is kind of interesting. So how they got his home phone number shouldn't they not even know who he is? But hey,
I guess because of Original Sin, they sort of know who he is.
Maybe.
He
I mean,
shows up.
it can be
I
explained away easily, but it's just kind
Right,
of like, huh?
right, right. Well, they do talk about his father, still trying to reach out. They're trying to reunite the Alexander clan. Eventually, I did like the I don't know if you saw the Great Pump. It's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown tonight.
Mm.
But you did notice the homage, right? The homage to Charlie Brown's ghost costume.
Oh, yeah.
I
But
did get a kick out of that.
is Jerry Duggan's doing a great job on Nova. He keeps making each issue, even these little standalone issues, be enjoyable.
Well, I'm glad that you like Nova. I haven't really been able to get into it, but there was a Duggan book out this week that I was very pleasantly surprised by.
Which was
Well, I see that it's not on your list of books that you read this week. It was The Death of Wolverine, Deadpool, and Captain America #1.
oh yes, it's another book that's on the iPad to be read. I thought you were gonna say Deadpool, whatever
No, no, no. This book, th-
36 or whatever
well,
it is.
that was last week, I think. Deadpool 36. No,
Oh, okay. Yeah, like I said, I'm still reading
and
some
I
from
like that
last week.
too. I like that too from last week. So I think Duggan's really gotten he's really gotten a good hold on Deadpool, on where Deadpool is right now, and the comedic timing of Deadpool right now. I remember when they were doing the Dead President story at the beginning. I felt it kind of dragged on forever, but I like that. Right now, especially with guest stars and kind of Deadpool's somewhat changed status in the Marvel universe, and how he's viewed by his superhero peers, and how he's interacting more and more with Cap and Wolverine and other characters like that. Um, his increased status, amongst them, he's playing off that real well. And in this issue, spoiler alert, we talk about Wolverine's death, because obviously it's in the title, but I clicked the spoiler button anyway. Um, the characters are dealing with Wolverine's death, and the impetus, the driving force behind the story is that someone's got a copy of um, Wolverine's DNA, and basically the Avengers at Avengers Mansion and the X-Men at the Jean Grey School have been kind of destroying Wolverine's personal effects as much as they can, because the stray hair or the stray skin cell or whatever, they don't want that to fall into the wrong hands and have Wolverine and his healing factor possibly be cloned and be reconstituted, right?
Hmm.
So that's the driving force behind the story. And Cap and Deadpool are basically following some leads um, on this DNA sample, and they go to retrieve it. And during the story, they talk about, the two characters basically reminisce about their interactions with Wolverine. And the art by Scott Collins, or Collins, is pretty good. Um,
Yeah, I enjoyed him on a couple of the DC books he's done. I think he drew a lot of the uh, Forever Evil Rogues Rebellion.
mhm. Right. He's getting better. I like the fact that his art is progressing. He's definitely gotten better. He's gotten better than what I remember him being on some early Avenger stuff, like mid 2000s. So, or late 2000s. I specifically remember him being on that, doing some stuff pre-Bendis New Avengers,
Mm.
before they rebooted. So he's definitely progressed since then. But seriously, the highlight of this book is the character interaction between old but still active Steve Rogers and Deadpool. The jokes are not one note. It's the interaction spot on. The ending is actually pretty. It's pretty thought provoking. The last couple of pages is pretty thought provoking, and you don't associate that with Deadpool, but I give Duggan a lot of credit for putting that in and giving Deadpool more than just being a one note, fourth wall breaking character.
Yeah, the main Deadpool series is a book that I read here and there at different points, but it's like I keep always bringing up. I need to just leave it be and just not waste my time with it. Just
Mm-hmm.
because I don't really, it's not something that I'm like, ooh, I gotta go read this. It's like, yeah, I kind of enjoy it. I should read it. I mean, I enjoy Duggan, but
Mm-hmm.
Deadpool's always just been a character for me that's just like, I enjoy him in like other like team books and whatnot, but his solo stuff, I'm just like, I can do with or without it.
Right. Well, that's the kicker here, is because I like the interaction between Deadpool and Cap in this book, and I think that's where he plays best for me. I know that Eclectic is a big fan of the Deadpool book right now. That's one of his like must-read books. Shout out to Eclectic. Um, but I definitely dug this issue. No pun intended with Duggan, but this is honestly, this is a strong, strong candidate for my click of the week this week. That's how strongly I felt about how well this book was done.
And you think
Surprising, very surprising.
to start thinking what my click of the week's gonna be. Since you brought up the Death of Wolverine, Captain America, and Deadpool, I'll bring up Death of Wolverine Logan Legacy #3, starring Sabretooth. And there's not much to talk about because
I didn't
issue
read
was,
this.
yeah, you didn't miss anything.
Oh God.
The art was different. It was kind of like a painted pastel type style,
Okay.
which wasn't bad. It was just different. But it was Sabretooth going around killing people for like a militia group that he was
Okay.
working with, and then whoever the bad guy, like the militia, of course, were bad guys, and the people they were killing had like some superpowered guy that controlled fire himself, but of course, Sabretooth still killed him.
Oh my
It's
God.
like it's like Sabretooth just killing people, and then like having, and then in the middle of the story gets like he's sleeping and has like a dream about Wolverine taunting him that he wasn't the one that got to kill him. It was
Really?
just, it was very pointless,
Wow.
very sad.
Wow. Okay.
And that's all the books I've read.
All right. Let me run through a couple of books that I read.
Tell me about Thunderbolts 32 because I'm mad I haven't read that yet.
I won't spoil it then because it
Oh,
looks
okay.
like you want to read it. I did have some thoughts on it. I haven't read the recent run on this book. I know that it's Acker and Blacker, right?
Hmm.
Something like that, writing this book, and I kind of like that they wrapped it up the way they did. Um, there's nothing definitive going on, but I like where the story progressed. I don't know how much you know, and I don't know how much you want to be spoiled. But I thought it was a fine wrap-up issue, to be perfectly honest. And not having not read the last like 20 issues, or at least 10 issues of this book since Soul left, and I heard that they were going to cancel it. I haven't really read any of it, but I understand now, especially from the recap pages, like the very first few pages of the book, got me up to speed very quickly. And I thought it was a fine last issue. It's not a bad job.
Nice.
All right. Anything else you wanted to know about before I get into like sort of like rapid fire ish?
Go for your rapid fire.
Wow, we were finishing early if we're in rapid fire already.
Hey, our show.
Yeah,
Bing, bang, boom.
seriously. Um, Savage Dragon number 199. You never thought I'd say that, right? Savage Dragon number
I,
199.
I tried to start back reading that again when I heard that his son was going to take over as the lead character,
Mm-hmm.
and then it just fell by the wayside again.
Well, I didn't even know that this was the son, to be perfectly honest. Although I should have figured it out because I was kind of wondering why the face of Savage Dragon looked younger, and I should have figured that out. maybe I didn't read. Now I'm flipping through it. Maybe I missed reading the. No, there is no recap page on the front, so that wasn't there to tell me. But Larson's art, yeah, people have their misgivings about Larson's art. I was kind of confused by why the Savage Dragon's character, the facial features were slightly different from what I remember.
Hmm.
But I guess it didn't matter because ultimately the one thing I can talk about in this issue is that it is full, front to back, of splash pages.
Oh,
2-page splash pages. That's all it is.
that's how you make an issue go by quickly.
Yeah, definitely. So, it took some getting used to, trying to figure out how to read it from left to right, especially especially our the way we get our review copies, right? But
Yeah.
it was very, very interesting to see these two splash pages, to see the book laid out this way, and to try to read it in a cohesive, coherent manner. Um, I thought it was well done. I think it would play better on the printed page. And when I did go, I actually went to the comic book store a little early this week because this weekend's going to be crazy, and tomorrow's Halloween, so tomorrow's a bad day to go out looking, get to the comic book shop, right?
Yeah.
Um, so I picked up my books early this week, and I was not able to snag a copy of Savage Dragon 199 to see what this 2-page spread per story page basically looked like in real life.
Okay. Yeah, it was kind of hard to read those two-page splash pages on
Mm-hmm.
in PDF form.
Right, in electronic format, but ultimately, I mean, you change the format, you make it show 2 pages at once, but still, it was kind of difficult. It probably plays a lot better on the printed page. For the DC fanboys out there, I did read Justice League United Annual Number 1, which features, I don't know this for sure, but it seems to feature the reintroduction of the Legion of Superheroes into DC New 52.
Oh yeah, I need to put that on my. I need to get that to read.
Right. And you don't necessarily have to be that familiar with Legion of Superheroes. They do a halfway decent job of, naming who's there. They don't give you the entire army of Legion of Superheroes to deal with. There's like an off-planet, like an away team type thing where you deal with that. And honestly, I'm not interested in the Justice League of Canada. So, I wonder why they would. I guess this is another way to get people to pick up this book because, the Legion of Superheroes is making their reappearance in DC Comics in it. But, I thought it was well done for what it is. I honestly don't think I would pick this up off the shelf. It's kind of a nice, it's a nice thing to see, but it's not for me. Did you see Rasputin #1 from Image Comics?
I saw the cover for it.
Right. I know Stegman did an alternate cover, I think. Just very quickly, it's a retelling of the story of Grigory Rasputin, the pseudo magician or mystic that had some real influence in Russian politics at the turn of the 20th century. It was an interesting kind of interpretation of the Rasputin story. There's obviously a lot that's unknown about Rasputin, but the art was fine. The story was fairly dramatic. Would I recommend this to someone who's not familiar with the story of Rasputin? Yeah, because you don't need to know the real history. If you recognize the character, if you recognize the name, you can look it up and get a general idea, and then see where the story goes. So, it was an interesting book. It's probably my non-superhero click of the week.
Ah.
So there is that. Let's see, what else do I have here? Fantastic Four #12. It's just another story in the ongoing reconstitution of the Fantastic Four now that Robinson has deconstructed them. Spider-Man and White Wingfoot are working on Johnny Storm, trying to get him to kind of snap out of it, and that's the main gist of this particular chapter in the story. So we're working towards the end of this volume of Fantastic Four and the reconstitution of the Fantastic Four. So that's where we are with that. And that covers what I read this week.
Click of the week time.
Yep. Click of the week time.
Dirt and Roddy did not provide theirs. I'm sure they'll tweet them out at
Right.
some point. But mine is going to be Inhuman number 7.
Nice.
This
Nice.
where Dirt would put the cover up for us, but
Right.
not here.
But
yeah,
all right.
I'm a big fan of Pepe Larraz and Charles Soule, of course, and they're turning me into Inhuman fans. So, and
that's so great to hear. You know, it is. It's something to hear.
I enjoyed the mostly Maximus the Mad centric issue that this was.
Right.
And I learned that the little that thing on Black Bolt's head is just part of his mask.
The tuning fork.
The tuning fork. For some reason, I always thought that was just part of his head because the humans were weird.
Well, you know, Lockjaw has the tuning fork on his head.
I thought it just grew out of his head.
But I liked that issue. I liked it more so. I mean, I'm used to reading, I guess, because we've seen Maximus the Mad kind of doing his shtick in New Avengers lately, right?
Yeah.
That you know, I was actually more impressed with the investigator characters in the book. You know, and I know we talked about it earlier when we were going over our reviews more in depth, but I really liked those characters that Soule kind of whipped up to get the story moving along. And you know, I really liked those two cop characters. I hope that they stick around.
Yeah.
My click of the week, and it was really the only choice that I had because I enjoyed it so much, was The Death of Wolverine, Deadpool, and Captain America #1. Surprise, surprise, surprise by Jerry Duggan and Scott Kolins. I enjoyed this book so it was just, there's a couple of just great jokes, and you know, like I said, there's a surprisingly deep thought ending to it that I thought was well done. Okay. So there you go. What do you got in the background going on? Is it the Thursday night game?
Yeah, but also Dort Kikas had asked when did Maggot return, which I asked when did he return.
I don't remember this.
And he said that he was in this week's Wolverine and the X-Men Drunk at Dupe and the Bant's Party. And
really?
That's sad because I actually read that issue, I think. Well,
I skimmed it.
Was it 2 weeks ago? Was it 2 weeks ago I read? Hold on, let me see. Wolverine X-Men 11. Did I read this? Oh, yeah, I haven't read this one yet. See, like I said, I'm still like a week or two behind because I read Wolverine X-Men 10 this week. I haven't read 11 yet.
Oh, that came out this week. I did read that. I didn't put it on my list.
That's another thing. Like, for one, this whole reboot of the series hasn't been that great just because it's at the death of Wolverine hanging over it because we knew he was going to die, and now he's dead and not doing all these like little like in memoriam issues of people mourning his death, which I don't care to read. And then it's going to end and relaunch anyway, so it's like, why even read it?
Well, let's talk about this real quick. Well, I mean, you know, it's not like I have to go real quick because our show has been like so short today. I'm skimming it now, kind of refreshing my memory, and we're dealing with one of Logan's exes, the writer, who is working on this book, the biography of Wolverine. And there's a lot of artists in this book. It kind of leads to a kind of a disjointed read. So
that's
this
no
writer,
reason. That's no reason why I'm like not crazy about it. Like you look at the credits page and it's like 20 different people credited on this book.
Right. So the writer is you know, still kind of going through. I think this is a direct continuation of the last issue. The writer's going through and talking to different members of the X-Men about Wolverine, and we actually get in this issue. Um, oh wow, you know what? He is right about. I totally missed that about Maggot. That's
I'm flipping
funny.
through it now.
That's funny.
Flipping,
He is
flipping.
right. Page 10.
I do like the pages where Robbie Rodriguez draws and this other person.
Right. And we
Page
also
10.
get, I was just going to say, we also get a teaser of the Spider-Man and the X-Men book that's going to be coming out.
Did I go too far? I don't know if I see Maggot.
The pool. Look in the pool.
Uh, oh, huh.
Look at that. Sharp-eyed Dorkeekis.
Eh,
Kudos to you, man. Kudos to you. See that. I did
knows
not see
that got past editorial.
that. I don't even recall Maggot coming back. That's very funny. That is very funny. Good job. Good job, Dorkeekis.
All right. So, guess that's it for the show.
Yes. Quick show because we've only got 2 guys on this week. We got 2 guys on for 2 weeks in a row. My goodness.
I've got so much to read. I have to go read your click of the week after the show now.
Go for it. It'll be a good read. You'll enjoy it. You know, it'll be a nice thing to read. It'll put a smile on your face and also kind of, like I said, surprisingly deep thoughts at the end.
So with that, we want to thank you all for tuning in either live or on audio or video uh, rewind. Make sure to follow us on our individual Twitter accounts. I'm at TimDOGG98 and at TheClickNation. Agent 70 here is at Agent_70.
Yeah.
Dirt is at PCN_Dirt. And go to his website, popculturenetwork.com. Roddy Cat is at Roddy Cat and at News Nerds Need.
At News Nerds Need.
And with that, we will bid you adieu. We will be back hopefully at full strength next week.
That's right.
Same Comic Book Chronicles time, same Comic Book Chronicles channel. Well timed. We are the Comic Book Chronicles and we are signing off.
Hey!